In this video, we're going to talk about creativity in programming and in coaching. And today I'm with my friend and colleague, Basil. Basil, for those that don't know you yet on the channel, can you tell us about what you do?
Okay, so I'm Basil, I'm 29 years old. I coach CrossFit mainly for No Shortcut Training, which is a global programming brand based in Denmark. So I coach individual clients there, and I also translate the program into French, which is the generic program, which have like two main paths, let's say, one session or two sessions per day. And I also coach at Tribal CrossFit, which is my affiliate that I own in France, with Geoffroy and Johan, two of my associates.
Yeah, we also both work in Claudia's team.
Yeah, also, yeah.
For the coaching. So we wanted to do a little video and talk about something a bit different. So why creativity? Why is something like this that kind of seems a bit abstract, a little artsy? Yeah. What place does it have for you in what you do, in your job?
Yeah, it's something like at the beginning when I was coaching, I was really into science. I mean, I'm still a lot into science, but I also noticed that a part of my job by creating program and creating program for a lot of different clients involves kind of creativity and just the fact that I have to create something from nothing, and I think that's also a huge challenge. So now I see it like a good part of science, but also a good part of art. And in that regard, I read a book by Rick Rubin on creativity, and even though most of the concepts are outside the sports sphere, it's still, I think, really useful for me to learn how an artist, musician works and how their mind function in order to probably take some information and use them in my work.
Yeah, it's always, I find it always interesting when you go, we were talking about this earlier, go outside of sports, because you can bring a lot of stuff back and it helps us do our job better. And what you said before, I think that the science of training and the art of coaching, right? They go together really well, and you can't just have one. Because if it was just about science, then you would just copy paste, you would put an algorithm in and it would just spit it out. But we deal with athletes, we deal with personalities, we deal with people. And so there is that part of slightly intangible that you have to contend with. So you read that book, what main things did you take away and that you're trying to apply into your programming and your coaching?
Well, there is the first big thing is the thing we talked earlier in French, but about the doubt and how the best artists are usually the one that doubt the most. Okay. And I think that's something really important. But also the way you can maybe have a lot of discipline just to have that space, that inner space to create. And there is a really good example in the book about that, about having a routine, being able to have some time in your day to just focus on yourself and just have your mind flow and have idea. And this is something I noticed earlier when I was working out, but usually when I'm into a really hard workout, I feel like my mind is at a really like safe space, and usually I have really good ideas about training, about programming during those moments, and I have just to have a piece of paper and just write on it one or two words about the idea.
So you remember?
Yeah, later. And a few days later I can just go back to that and try to create. And there is like really good example that seems really logic to me when I read the book, but earlier I didn't really notice that.
Well, can you give us an example of something that you've written down on a piece of paper?
It could be like, it could be really simple things like just progression, or for example doing gymnastic movement, and just noticing how my shoulder is moving and just creating a link between the full movement and a little drill, and just noting, writing the drill, and later maybe filming some videos and trying to incorporate that in my work. But
it's funny, I guess everybody works differently in that regard. I find that when I walk, I have the same thing, right? When it's just me, no phone, no music, and you could just let things come up, and then usually, like you said, you need to leave space, right? Because you need to leave space for things to emerge. They have to come out, but for that you need space.
Yeah, and I think maybe I'm a huge fan of music in general. Like when I'm working, I love to put some music, but lately I have found like a better balance between just having sometimes really off without any music. For you it's walking, for me it's biking, like having 2 hours on the bike and just focusing on yourself. Just like it's not something that you can force, I think. That's something that just came naturally, and just like letting it flow through you is it's quite a good feeling.
Yeah, and second, what you're saying about working and focusing, I quite often listen to music as well, but then sometimes I even put earplugs in, and then you're really in your bubble, and then nothing can disturb you. And if you're in an environment that is pretty free of distractions, then you can really do a lot of things.
Yeah, I think especially in, like, it sounds a bit cliche, but in modern world when we are just thrown by information all the time, just finding your own space. And I think one big thing in this book is that the principles are the same, but the methods could be really different from one to another. For example, it's walking when it's biking, but it could be really different. But just finding what's the best for you, but also staying open to change. It's quite like it make it for just more fun, I think, and it should not be a work. It just should be how life is, and if you can enjoy the process, it's way easier.
Are there things that you've changed recently in your process, in your way of programming workouts or progressions or programs?
For example, the best example is in this week was I usually work with 4 weeks blocks of linear progression in general, but and I change every 4th week. But for the next next block of training for my athletes at the gym, I changed it for 6 weeks blocks, just to try, because I found the 4 weeks method the best. But in that book, he also talked about really being open to change and something forcing you to change, just to try, and maybe that's not the solution, but trying something really new. So I just wanted to try that. So now I have created a block of 6 weeks, a 6 weeks block of training, and I will just experiment that.
Are you doing a linear progression over 6 weeks, or a 5+1, or is it a 2-1-2-1?
It will be like undulating from weeks to weeks. So 1 week will be more based into strength and weightlifting. The other one will be more on engine and gymnastics.
So I guess intensity also varies week to week.
Intensity and volume.
Interesting. Yeah, and I think, I mean, I like to always say the best training is the one you've never done.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think it can only at least be interesting for athletes to try a different way of working and see what works. Yeah. Is there other things in the way of creativity that you're doing now that you didn't do before?
Probably getting some time off programming, just finding a better balance in my weekly, in my work every week. So I used to work a bit every day from Monday to Sunday, but I also found out that even in one day when I'm working straight from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. The last 2 hours are really hard, and I think I'm not as good as I am on the last part of the day. So now I try to really program from Monday to Friday, and have at least 2 days out of working. And I think for those 2 days, Like today, I don't have my computer with me, so there is
You
no
don't have a choice?
temptation,
Yeah, okay.
no other choice. And I feel like on Monday I'm more motivated, sorry, and I probably better for the 5 days of work that way.
Yeah,
So,
which, like you said, applies to work and that applies to training as
Yeah.
well. If you take a day off, you're hungry again, you want to go back.
yeah, that's the
If you
same
train
principle,
every-
and
yeah, exactly.
And Rick Rubin was talking a lot about how artists can be a bit on every direction, but
Yeah.
finding some way to put them in a more restricted planning or something without obstructing, how can you say? Without restraining their creativity. Is also a good way to create.
I guess discipline is freedom, right?
Yeah. Jocko Willink.
Jocko Willink, yeah. Thanks, Basil.
Thank you very much.
And if you're interested in all things programming and CrossFit, we'll drop Basil's link in the description. Take care.
See y'all.